You're listening to The Analog Dungeon, a podcast where I present a dungeon module or pre-printed adventure from the storied history of Dungeons & Dragons to my friend, and we make jokes about it. On this episode, we have a big one. We're diving into Gary Gygax's legendary Keep on the Borderlands, the 1979 module that introduced millions of players to TTRPGs and a cornerstone of D&D. This is part 1 of 3. Enjoy! Jeremy.
Russell.
We are going to be heading to a place of mystery and madness, a place of caves and chaos. We are headed well back in time to one of the most famous adventures in early Dungeons & Dragons and even in D&D history in all. We are headed to the Borderlands. And there upon the Borderlands...
Now, Russell, I've heard
Yes.
that there is some sort of, dungeon, some sort of bastion. I'm trying to think of another word for it.
A bailey.
Some kind of stronghold. Yes, a bailey of some description. If only there was a
redoubt, perhaps.
If only there was a shorter, punchier word to use.
Yeah. Unfortunately, looking at our realtor's guide to Mystara, all we have on the menu for today are keeps. That's right. We are headed to Dungeon Module B2, the Keep on the Borderlands.
We're playing for keeps. Love it.
Which is, as we've said, it is one of the most famous adventures in D&D history. It was
so famous it has its own acronym, KOTB, Keep on the Borderlands.
Yup. It's not Kids on the Block.
No. Not Knights of the Old... Hold on. Knights of the 10 Battle Station? Forget I started this.
It's not knees on the board, which is the first rule of surfing.
Oh, nice.
Keep on the Borderlands, originally printed in December 1979, was included in the old blue basic box set, and then later the Moldvay pink basic set. And if you started playing Dungeons & Dragons at really almost any point from 1979 forward into 2nd edition, Keep on the Borderlands was a very, very strong contender for your first adventure, because even in the advanced Dungeons & Dragons and AD&D, you would still play some of the basic things because it was a little more permeable back and forth what was basic, what was original, and what was AD&D.
And neither of us have ever played it, which I just assumed you had. I'd always heard about it. I know we sort of talked we're a little bit later in the session, so if Keep on the Borderlands became like a placeholder for like the first beginner adventure that everyone plays, our Keep on the Borderlands would of course have been Sunless Citadel.
Right, the Sunless Citadel for us is kind of the analog to this, because Keep on the Borderlands, while not like I started playing Dungeons & Dragons with 2nd edition, I still played like in a lot of homebrew games and a lot of just quickly run stuff.
Sure,
I didn't play in any like modules. I never did Temples of Elemental Evil. I never did Tomb of Horrors. I think we've already described the story. My first character was knocked out within the first session, and then for like 3 sessions afterwards, I didn't wake up.
Talk about a coloring your D&D experience where...
Yeah, no.
Like, what's my guy going to do? Well, Russell, he's going to continue to sleep.
Yep.
This is basically a sleep simulator.
Sucks to suck.
Sucks to suck.
But Keep on the Borderlands, written by Gary Gygax, supplanted B1, the very first adventure module that was written for these basic box sets and sold very well. This was when D&D in the earliest editions was at its peak of popularity. It has been reprinted twice. Sequels to Keeps on the Borderland were also made. There was a 2nd edition adventure, Into the Borderlands. There was a novelized version of the adventure published in 2001.
Really? I didn't know that.
I didn't either. This is all new to me from Wikipedia. Novel by Rue Emerson. And according to Dungeon Magazine back in 2004, it is ranked the 7th greatest D&D adventure of all time. 7th overall. Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
I'm surprised that it's Well, I mean, I guess I don't know that it's any good. I just know that I've heard keep on the Borderlands a ton. Like, it's really well known. So I guess if you're being Rolling Stony about it and you're like, well, I mean, it's well known, but that doesn't mean it's good. But I'm
You
still
know,
surprised that it's seventh, because I mean, when I think of classic adventures that everyone sort of knows, the three that come to mind immediately for me are the ones you've already mentioned, like Keep
right.
on the Borderlands, Temple of Elemental Evil, and Tomb of Horrors.
And that's an important thing that we want to discuss with this. And
Hmm.
part of the reason why we like doing
Hmm.
this old dungeon is that it's got the name recognition,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
how does it
That's
play,
right.
right?
We never played it, which I was really shocked to learn when we were talking about this a little earlier, that neither of us have played them. I thought I had played it, but then I was like, no, that's just pieces of Sunless Citadel that my brain has cobbled together and just assumed was Keep on the Borderlands due to all of the alcohol I drink, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what is Keep on the Borderlands? What does it contain? Who is it for?
Mm.
How does it start? So, Keep on the Borderlands Dungeon Module B2 feels a lot like our old B1 Into the Unknown. There's a paper pamphlet inside of the kind of cardstock outer cover that is separated from it. You take it off and open it up, and inside, printed in that nice old school blue gridded map, are the caves of chaos. The adventure is a big sandboxy adventure that
Mm.
you could also say it's a little theme parkish. It's a little destination. It's like, kids, pack the minivan. We're going to Disneyland. And in Disneyland, you can wander all over the place,
Yeah.
but certain places you wander are either more or less interesting or more or less expensive than others. So
We haven't we're not the level for Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. We have to stick with Small World or the Matterhorn.
right, and you can never get to Tomorrowland because tomorrow never comes.
That's right.
So this is an introductory module for levels 1 through 3. And as reading through this, comparing this to B1, you see a lot of the differences between my car writing
Mhm.
and Gary Gygax. Gygax is very, very succinct in terms of describing technical rules, describing specifics about the
Mhm.
game. It's very
Mhm.
clear, one of the originators of the game is very, very clear on rules and procedures, whereas Carr tends to write in much more purple prose and a
Yeah.
much more kind of
Yeah.
loftier overall tones. There are
Gygax was not Tolkien-esque, and Carr had a little bit more of that flavor that he wanted to bring to the writing. Like, Gygax was very much by the book. Here are the rules. That's what's important. And all of the Tolkien-esque stuff that was brought into the pairing came from my friend and yours, Dave Arneson, who was very Tolkien-esque, who liked that back. And that's frequently what you would get with a lot of his adventures, were just a lot of backstory. Oh, this is the religion of the temple you're going in, and ba 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 ba, all that
Yep.
stuff. So that's where the two houses of the dragon meet.
Yep. Now, there are lots of flavors still. There are
Mhm.
still plenty of pieces like that. But this is something that I appreciate from a standpoint of someone who, this is meant to be put in the hands of someone who can add that flair and flavor themselves. And you see that throughout, because the NPCs don't have names, they just have titles, like the Castellan, who is in charge of the keep, or the priest, or the curate. Like, these are people that, are just kind of placeholders. You get to fill a little bit more of that flavor, and that's intended. That's by
Mhm.
design. It's
Mhm.
mentioned in here that this is meant to be picked up and dropped in to your own campaigns. Much like your players are expected to fill in their own map, the dungeon
Mhm.
master is expected to fill in those specific story details.
Which is interesting, because that means if you leave that part of if you leave a little bit of that up to the decision of the dungeon master, then every keep on the Borderlands that you, I mean, presuming he's not giving you names, he's also not giving you like personalities and things like that. Every keep on every Borderland is is going to be different then, right? Depending
Yep.
on the DM. Like, you may have a shopkeeper that is this way in your first DM's run through, and then if you ran this module again later on with another DM, it might be a completely different one.
Yep.
Interesting.
So let's dive into kind of your early preparations. Let's say you're first sitting down. Jeremy, you're the adventuring party coming into this. You have the plane tickets. You've already looked at the weather in Orlando.
Yeah.
You're preparing for the dope-ass Disney train.
Right. To take you to the fun fucking part of the game.
There you go. So let's ask this question first.
Sure.
How many people are coming along with you? Who's invited to the Keep on the Borderlands? What do you think your typical adventuring party is going to look like when you're starting this out?
Well, I know nowadays the sweet spot is kind of 5-6, right? Maybe 4-6 is kind of the.
But
the
I
sweet
always
spot.
thought I was 5'9".
Well, it's 4 to 6 players.
Right.
Really 5-6, I would argue, is kind of the real sweet spot. So I would say you and 4 buddies and a DM. That's a party.
So this module, as written,
Mm-hmm.
is designed to allow 6 to 9 players
Oh.
of first level to play out many adventures, gradually working their way up to second or third level of experience.
So it's like a
in the process.
kindergarten, basically.
We are on the class trip to Disneyland, right?
Wow.
Yeah, 6 to 9 people.
9. Now I realized back in the day a million times. I realize, back then that was a little more expected because it's not this are my second time referencing Critical Role. This isn't Critical Role time where everyone has their backstories and they're talking to each other in character constantly and doing a bunch of story stuff, at least not at this point. Now that was happening elsewhere. I mentioned Dave Arneson. That's more of a him thing.
Right.
This is much more of a, we're here, I'm an adventure man, we're all adventure men's and ladies, and we're at the Keep on the Borderlands to do Keep stuff and to do Borderlands stuff and nothing else.
Exactly.
So there's less time being taken by 9 people.
Exactly. We are not here filling out backstory. We are here filling out a construction crew.
Yeah.
We're signing the slips for the union jobs.
Right.
So
there's a call sheet for this D&D game.
Bingo. If you don't have 6 to 9 people, there's a good chance nobody's coming back.
That's right. Not to tell family secrets. Who has 6 or 9 friends
that can meet regularly?
9 people. Imagine trying to get. It's hard enough for us to get 5 people together, and 2 of them are a couple, and there are 2 couples that are married. So that's really more like 1 person,
right?
In our sort of home D&D game. And I say this the day before we're not playing because someone has something going on. Like, literally, imagine 9 people. I guess, when you're a kid, it's a little easier. But again, maybe I wasn't a real popular kid, but who has 9 friends?
No, yeah. So, first off, we're looking at a group of people. And again, this is a little indicative of how you're expected to approach this. This is definitely not the, the giant thick book that we would expect with campaigns today,
sure,
with a massive amount of backstory and all of these different, elements that are coming in.
Sure.
You are a unit of people and you are going into a dangerous zone and you're working on clearing that sucker out. There is a very functionally driven way to the design. And that also carries through in Gygax's writing and structure, because when you go to the Keep where your adventure begins, the Keep is incredibly detailed, the kind of detail that you would expect to see in a brochure for visiting your local castle. It has lots of medieval terms.
Yeah.
It has a very medieval structure to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of really just lovingly laid out in enough, both there's like enough information about the actions and schedule taken by certain inhabitants at the Keep to be able to demonstrate how it functions, which we'll get into as we describe it. There's also a few secrets at the Keep that are pretty interesting, and ways in which the players navigate and deal with both the Keep and its NPCs over time, which makes it a very interesting adventure that is easy to plop in, but also the structure of it as you have a home base full of various non-player characters that you interact with, and that you can sell items to, buy things from, recruit to work with, or get information or quests from.
Sure.
All of that stuff, again, very functionally driven. It puts me in mind of quite a few games like Freelancer or Rebel Galaxy,
Yeah, I was gonna
old like
say
first edition, the very very first Diablo, with your only the
right,
one main town and all the
right.
NPCs in it. Like, this is a place where you kind of like enter the zone of the keep, and there's your Castellan kind of standing over there with, oh, he's got something to talk to me about. There's my tavern keeper over there polishing a mug. I can go over there and interact with them for a little bit.
Mhm.
It's very functionally driven.
Right, I was thinking, I was like, dare I say, classic D&D almost giving me MMORPG vibes? Like, I know that
Only,
'cause that was the big complaint, that 4th edition is an MMORPG that you play at a table, but, like, I mean, this could be Stormwind, this could be Orgrimmar. Like, you go in, there's the places to go to do the things, and that's like when you've done with your adventure, or you need to go and refresh. I get Diablo, to use another Blizzard property.
yes,
Diablo is a very is like, I'm really thinking that you go back, you see Deckard Cain, you stay a while and listen.
exactly.
You get your shit identified. You buy some new potions. You do that, and then you plan. Oh, okay, I'm going to go out and do this portion next. You look at your quests. This is what I'm going to do next. So it's very, very computer gamey.
And there's reason behind that, because we know that most of like a lot of early computer game creators were heavily
Sure,
influenced by
absolutely.
wargaming and Dungeons and Dragons
Yeah,
specifically.
nerds are going to
And
nerd.
that is the root behind much of the dungeon designs and the game designs that we see that have made their way into modern day.
Yeah.
So all of it is of an ancestry.
Mhm.
So let's get into the keep first before we head to the caves of
So what's the
chaos.
relation? I don't want to jump ahead, but
Sure.
what's the relation between the keep and the caves of chaos? Or is that jumping ahead?
Not quite jumping ahead.
Okay.
What you have is essentially two locations.
Mhm.
The keep itself, which is on the Borderlands and
Well, yeah,
is
hence the name,
surrounded
Keep
by
on the
wilderness.
Borderlands, Russell. Come on. We know
Exactly,
that's, if
exactly.
there's one thing we know about this keep,
Right.
it is on the Borderlands.
But the important thing about the Borderlands are the keep and the border represent kind of the end of civilized world.
Sure.
And then past it are really uncivilized, dangerous territories. And within those dangerous realms, within that wilderness, there are the Caves of Chaos. And the
Mhm.
Caves of Chaos is again, kind of theme parky. Like, it's an adventure, it's a destination. You get to it, and then while you're there are many different things that you can do within the Caves of Chaos.
So, look, adventure wise,
Yes.
you can go in and explore and then find stuff to do. It's like, if there
Yes.
was a setup for there to be an adventuring class of people that just do this, like adventure as a job,
Right.
having something like the Caves of Chaos nearby would make a lot of sense.
Absolutely. It represents a threat, a growing threat, but also from a design standpoint, it represents a scalable threat. One
Yeah.
of the very early mentions in the first page of the module is warning dungeon masters, don't let your players just loose in the Caves of Chaos. Otherwise, they're going to not have a good time. Like, make sure your kids are on the leash whenever you get to
Right. If you
Disneyland,
if you
right?
pizza when you're supposed to French fry, you're not gonna have a good time.
Exactly. Ensure that the super glue keeping the Apple tag on the back of your kid's neck is firmly affixed. So one of the things that's mentioned at the very beginning is, for example, you should advise from a friendly individual to the players that when they enter the Caves of Chaos, it's a big ravine, and the caves, the titular caves, are kind of scattered along the ravine's length, and they are at different levels. So imagine like a strip mine kind of,
Yeah.
coal mine kind of pit, and you're entering from one end on the ground level, and there's caves close to you and further in on the ground level, as well as caves on each of the rises kind of above
Yeah. Up
it.
up higher.
Right. So the caves that are closer to where the players first enter, and the caves that are lower to the ground, have lower level monsters, shorter dungeons, and easier to access content in them.
Sure. Yeah, which
Whereas
which
the
is
deeper in you
realistic.
get, more
Yeah.
dangerous you get.
That's even I hate to say that's realistic, but it doesn't even like realistic, right? Because the stuff that's easier to get to is going to be cleared out. Like that's going to
Right.
be a known entity. If you have to climb and rappel and swing and do like the fewer people that are dealing with this stuff, the more dangerous shit is going to be wherever that is. So that makes a lot of sense.
Which is one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is you have essentially gone to a monstrous cul-de-sac and you're serving out eviction notices.
Fair. This ravine full of caves has a lot of squatters, and we need to go in there and clear those out for so we can gentrify this whole area and put a
That was
Starbucks
a
over
more
there.
postmodern way to look at this is you're
Yes.
gentrifying the
You're
caves of chaos.
gentrifying the caves of chaos.
Right.
We're gonna clear out the bullets from this cave, put in a home goods. And
make sure that we get the right backsplash for the kobolds.
that's right. Yeah,
section.
and then you could start. You could look at getting an IKEA. Really make this place somewhere we can overcharge people for rent and destroy the local culture.
You have now entered into the Brennan Lee Mulligan's forms of keep on the Borderlands,
Yes.
where capitalism is always the enemy. So yes, so that kind of like is the big structure. That's a top-down perspective. You have players that start at the keep, and then they go through the wilderness. They reach this ravine where the caves of chaos are located, and then they begin delving.
They pick their poison.
Exactly, and that's something where you as the dungeon master have a little bit of flexibility in, do you give them more hand holding, like that's the cave you were told to go to, that going any deeper in is likely to engage with dangerous and unknown things that you are woefully unprepared for, and they're like, well, we want to go anyway, and the dungeon master's like, again, dangerous and woefully unprepared for, not I haven't read that section of the module yet.
Right. I swear it's dangerous and you're woefully unprepared, as he's thumbing through desperately going,
well, we're gonna go down this further, and okay, rocks fall, you all die. I told you, dangerous.
See how
You
dangerous
were
and
woefully unprepared.
you were for that?
Yeah.
You didn't wear your rock repellent or anything.
Yeah. So the first section of the module contains a large amount of kind of advice like this. Things about, because remember, this is in the basic rule set, and this is meant to introduce dungeon masters to how to run a game, as well as players for how to play. Now, granted, this module specifically is not like the only thing in the basic guide. The rule book is in there. It's got stuff for players. This is something specifically for the dungeon master to read, and as a result, a lot of the information past the first paragraph is for the dungeon master's eyes only.
Right.
So as you're coming through this, it's describing kind of how do you want to pace this out? How do you want to do this? This is the flow it should go. How to be an effective dungeon master. And it begins describing things that, if you're familiar with older school rules, you are more familiar with this kind of style of play, such as all of your players that are in a party don't all like get their own voice in their own turn, kind of. Instead, you have what's called a caller, the person who is essentially the point of contact between the party and the dungeon master. And the caller tells the dungeon master what the party is doing. It also kind of doubles down on that here by saying individual players may decide on their actions, but it is the caller who gives the DM the details of the party's course of action, such as, we will head down the eastern corridor. The caller should discuss the party's action with the players and inform the DM of the decisions of the group. When a player speaks and indicates that an action is being taken, it has begun, even if the player changes their mind. Use your discretion in those cases, and remember, the DM has final say in all matters.
That's right. We need to get that tattooed somewhere. The DM has final say in all matters.
Right. I should note, there's also the sections describing treasure and experience, because the treasure that you took out essentially counted for experience points.
Right. That was sort of an old school thing that we see in a lot of the earlier modules, which I kind of love. I gotta say, I think it kind of works in a weird way. It makes no sense logically.
Yeah.
In fact, we were talking about capitalism. That's like a capitalist dream. The more money I have, the more experience I am, the better I am at everything.
Right. I have reached level 50 capitalist.
Yes, I can think of some South African billionaires that wish that was true. But but I kind of low key slaps. Like, that works really well. Where it's like, wow, look at all this gold I got, and I got all this experience. You're kind of tying everything together.
It's definitely like symbolic of the older system,
Mhm.
and certainly like makes more sense for why it ties a much stronger motivation to gold,
Yes.
which is a thing that we have bemoaned in our
Oh
own
yeah,
games,
God, for
and has certainly
years.
gone round and round on what good is gold for in modern Dungeons and
Yes, the
Dragons.
nerdiest thing about
Anyway,
us very well may be we're basically D&D economists in our part time trying to figure out what is it good for?
yeah.
Absolutely nothing. Ah!
So, with that in mind, there's also a really awesome illustration. The book is known also for its art. It's iconic,
Mhm.
front page with adventurers attacking these oncoming creatures. But there's also a black and white illustration in that very section of a group of adventurers with the big female barbarian is holding like the rogue upside down and shaking him loose for all the gold that's inside of him. Meanwhile, there's like a halfling right behind her, like, whoa, damn.
I'm not messing with you.
Right.
Oh, love that.
So, with that said, once you have your players prepared, your 6 to 9
6 to
adventurers,
9. Your 8th grade science class.
right? Everyone's got their ride passes on.
Right.
Juice boxes and water bowls been
Right.
deployed. You are ready to begin keep on the Borderlands. So, as we're getting into this, I want to have a very, very short, succinct content warning.
Mhm.
People who read older school D&D writing will find references to descriptions that are definitely the kind of language we would not use today. Uh, Things like talking about slaves, things like using the word rape to be able to describe pillaging, stuff like that. We shy away from those words because they bring in things like we don't want to raise the possibility of sexualized violence in our games. It doesn't really have a place there. We don't want them. So while I'm reading through this, people who may be familiar with the section may hear me moving around within it. I do that because these are terms that I'm not going to use in my games. I'm
Sure.
not going to use them here. But it is important for people who may hear this and want to get into it. Be aware that these kind of things exist in it, so that you're going
Mhm.
in, you're forewarned. So with
Right.
that said, the realm of mankind is narrow and constricted. Always the forces of chaos press upon its borders. If it were not for a stout few, many in the realm would indeed fall prey to the evil which surrounds them. Yet there are always certain exceptional and brave members of the humanity. Side note, the crazy ones,
Yes. The insane guys who you can pay to do basically anything.
as well as similar individuals among its allies, dwarves, elves, and halflings, who rise above the common level and join battle to stave off the darkness which would otherwise overwhelm the land. Bold adventurers from the realm set off for the Borderlands, capital B Borderlands, to seek their fortune. It is these adventurers who, provided they survive the challenge, carry the battle to the enemy. Such adventurers meet the forces of chaos in a testing ground where only the fittest will return to relate the tale. Here, these individuals will become skilled in their profession, be it fighter or magic user, cleric or thief. They will be tried in the fire of combat.
The only
Those
4 professions there are.
the only 4 professions there are. It's a tight economy out there. We're very specialized.
You got 4 things you can be. If you're not one of those, you're an NPC, aka fair game.
The Cavalier from the old school D&D
Yeah.
cartoon. It's just,
Yeah.
oh, what about me?
Nope. You're
You never had a horse. Never had a
nope,
horse. Sorry,
you're
dude.
a fighting man. That lance is now a spear, and you're gonna be glad you've got it.
True, some few who do survive the process will turn from law and good and serve the masters of chaos, but most will remain faithful and ready to fight chaos wherever it threatens to infect the realm. This feels very much like a kind of 40s radio announcer vibe at the
Yes,
beginning of the
yeah.
adventure, maybe even a Starship Troopers style propaganda video,
Yeah.
call to action.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if you're thinking take their fight to the enemy and the agents of chaos. And if you think about it from like a dungeon ecology standpoint, where you're like,
Yeah.
the evil is some creature that's lived in this cave for
Yeah.
1700 years. And it's
You
like,
are
"Oh,
indeed members of that exceptional class, the Helldivers.
this is literally my home. I've lived here for 1700 years.
Right, exactly.
It is well known that I live here. It's in books. You're killing me. I'm not evil. I'm just a homeowner.
Right. Technically, I'm stating my ground.
That's right. Technically, if this were Texas, it would be legal for me to kill you.
Oh God, that's a random NPC.
Castle doctrine.
That's a random NPC to add. A Texas lawyer.
Yes, yes.
Now, I may just be a simple country monster lawyer.
But as far as I can see, when the Mind Flayer sucked your brain out, you were past the threshold of his domicile, making it fully legal.
I say, I think that you need a warrant to come in here, but given that the only magistrate's outside this jurisdiction, I must say that there's no probable cause for this.
No probable cause for you and your friend the cleric and your friend the thief to go traipsing on into my client, the displacer cat, whom you referred to as a beast earlier, you horrible racist.
Your survival check to detect the presence of them is like, where are these bullet shell casings and tort documents coming from? All right. That. You are indeed members of that exceptional class, adventurers who have journeyed to the Keep on the Borderlands.
He said the thing.
In search of fame and fortune. Of course, you are inexperienced, but you have your skills and a heart that cries out for adventure.
You've got gumption, and we like it.
You have it in you to become great, but you must gain experience and knowledge and greater skill. There is much to learn, and you are willing and eager to be about it.
To be about it?
I mean, if you want to...
That's 40s radio for you.
Very much so,
You got a lot of moxie, kid, and I appreciates that.
The door opens, and the fighter's there, and he's like, all right, let's be about it.
It's time to be about it.
It can get kind of cold. It's a cold line sometimes. You know, that's very much well, fill your hand, you son of a bitch, in terms of strong.
Yeah, I love that.
Each of you has come with everything which could possibly
really long,
be given you. Oh, it is. No, it's like 3-4 paragraphs. Yeah.
You read this on the phone on the way in. So the actual play period isn't story time.
All right, skipping to the important bits.
No, I mean it's
it's ahead. Surprisingly long. Ahead, up the winding road, atop a sheer walled mount of stone, looms the great keep. Here, at one of civilization's strongholds between good lands and bad, you will base yourselves and equip for forays against the wicked monsters who lurk in the wilds. Somewhere nearby, amidst the dark forests and tangled fens, are the caves of chaos, where fell creatures lie in wait. All this you know, but before you dare adventure into such regions, you must become acquainted with the other members of your group. For each life will depend upon the ability of the others to cooperate against the common foe. Now, before you enter the grim fortress, it is time for introductions and an exchange of information, for fate seems to have decreed that you are to become an adventurous band, Tenacious D, who must pass through many harrowing experiences together on the path which leads towards greatness. Chicken Jockey!
Long time ago in the town of Kickapoo. So so setting up the meet cute, which I think is great. I love a meet cute in a D&D campaign. Yeah. So at this point, you would all go around the table, and that classic scene in every show or movie that's tried to show D&D being played. It's always the very first time that they ever get together, and it's like, well, yeah, my name is Zorthon, and I'm a level 43 sword fighter. It's that going around.
James, I said you couldn't bring the other character for the game in. You had to leave it at home.
From your invented game you've been playing.
You are Tim the Enchanter, level 1 magic user. King Deal. If there's a group of people that do content online called Theater of the Unaligned. They do combinations of like small shorts of their in-person stuff, as well as animated shorts of their characters. And my favorite kind of meet cute of these, there's a half-orc barbarian and an elf ranger that are at the bar, and one is like, oh, I'm here for the escort. Are you here for the escort? Sure. And they misuse which escort they're actually there for. And when the barbarian is like, wait a minute, which escort did you think I mean? The barbarian is like, I have a tragic history when my parents died. I was just like, yep, gets you out of awkward situations, relating your tragic backstory. Hell yes.
Oh, that is a really good shout out to Theater of the Unaligned. I love their
They're
stuff
good. They're good folks. It's good content.
Yeah.
So you have brought your people together. You've gathered them. There is, in fact, more text to be read. You have traveled for many days, leaving the realm and entering into the wilder area of the Borderlands. Farms and towns have become less frequent and travelers few. The road has climbed higher as you enter the forested and mountainous country. You now move up a narrow, rocky track. A sheer wall of natural stone is on your left, the path falling away to a steep cliff on the right. There's a small widening ahead where the main gate to the keep is. The blue-clad men-at-arms who guard the entrance shout at you to give your names and state your business. All along the wall, you see curious faces peering down at you, eager to welcome new champions of law, but ready with crossbow and polearm to give another sort of welcome to enemies.
This is a great opportunity that I'm sure many people quoted Monty Python and the Frenchman on the wall. I fart in your general direction.
So you can definitely like play up a little bit of this entry, this gathering, or you can just play it simple.
Yeah,
describe them there,
tell them your
let the
name,
players...
and you walk in, right?
Exactly. There's a lot of description from this point forward of kind of some basic notes of what the basic layout of the keep is for the Dungeon Master, as well as a rumor table for once players get inside. Because there's a lot inside this very medieval keep. You have apartments where there are rich families that are staying who are waiting for caravans to take them to safer places inland or further abroad. There's an inn, which is described as always active and a great respite for those coming back from the wilderness. There are multiple priests and clerics. There is in fact, inner bailey itself, the inner portion of the keep where the fortress is, that the players simply don't have access to because why would they?
Right.
But over time, there is actually a way to get access to that. So, for instance, entrance to the Inner Bailey can be gained if the adventurers perform a heroic act on behalf of the keep, if they bring back an exceptional trophy or valuable prisoners, or if they contribute a valuable magic item or 1,000 or more gold pieces to the place. So if you bring back and just like drop your loot and it's just like, we've slain all these people, we're giving you this stuff, then that buys you access to the Castellan. The Castellan who runs the entire group in the fortress. They are invited to a feast and revel, and then closely watched and carefully questioned. If the Castellan likes the looks of the group and his assistants agree, he will ask them to perform a special mission, suitable to their ability, but difficult. And they basically let the Dungeon Master pick what that is. But the Castellan essentially says, we have been having trouble with this specific thing, and we want you to go here and deal with it.
Sure.
On the other hand, if the players behave badly or are rude, the Castellan will simply retire, ending the revel early, and the players will never be aided or invited back again.
But that makes sense. First, it's a nice... You're going to have to get to that point. You're not going to be able to go out and kill a rat and bring it back and go, look what we did, and get invited to go hang out with the Castellan, right?
Yeah.
You got to go out. You got to gain some experience / gold. You've got to really take on some difficult things. And then you kind of get into now we're going to make you a part of the keep. You're kind of a freelancer. This is the way you go from pirate to privateer.
Exactly.
And if you don't make that leap, then buddy, you're a pirate forever. No flag for you.
It can also be a way to be able to help get adventurers, kind of triggering forward momentum out of the lower levels.
In a new place. Right. Moved in the right direction. You let them run around for a little, let them do their thing. And then you're like, okay, well, we're going to give you a reliable person whose motives you don't have to question, who, that's going to be able to say, yeah, there's a freaking beholder in one of those caverns that looked at me wrong. Go and bring me back a beholder eyelash or something, and then you go do it.
And most importantly, the Castellan will actually give you resources. Groups that are sent out on the mission will be blessed and given up to 100 gold each for any needed supplies. If they succeed, they will then be given passes to the Inner Bailey and can ask the Castellan for aid for other major foes to overcome. The Castellan will send a minimum of 1 corporal and 3 archers in plate, or at maximum the fortress sergeant, a corporal, and a dozen men at arms, all of whose stats are described in the module.
Sure.
So there's room to be able to like level up your influence, essentially, which I think is a nice touch.
Yeah.
And then get some actual material goods from it. So the keep is described,
which we have talked about in many past episodes. How like now it's your party against the world, but man, back then you sometimes you just needed a bunch of red shirts. This is Star Trek rules, man. You gotta have some folks with you, soak up some damage, and maybe get lucky on a bow shot or two, and really just ensure that you're gonna make it out alive, or at least you're not the one who dies.
Yep. So the full map of the keep is printed later in the module, and this place is incredibly defended, considering that it is, at the top of this very, very tall granite cliff overlooking the surrounding area.
Mm-hmm.
It's got big, thick, stout walls. The whole front half of the keep, where all of the, mostly the common folk, the business folk, the merchant class, all the richer people live, and then the inner bailey itself, where the true fortress is located, it's heavily guarded and heavily armed. This is not something that a roving band of monsters is simply going to come and overthrow. The players don't have to worry about trying to defend this place.
Right. Get to the gates and you're safe. You don't have to worry about having a safe place to long rest. Like, you're in the keep, you're fine.
It's not like there's secretly some person hiding inside waiting to undermine the security of the keep or deal with any, secretly pick off any adventurers as they're coming along or anything like that.
That would not a chance.
Who would put that in here? Who would consider adding that into their module?
Who would do that? Someone like, I don't know, just spitballing here, Gary Gygax.
I think that's a possibility. I think it's a strong possibility. We will plant that idea as we go through the keep. So imagine your characters are passing through this tall main gate with guards all over it, plenty of murder holes, and other defenses abound. Players that are coming in are going to see, the main entry yard, narrow and paved, passing all the way down to the left with a big stone wall in front of them. That's the backside of all of the other kind of main buildings that are in the inner yard.
Mm-hmm.
So the first people that they meet is going to be the Corporal of the Watch, who's dressed in plate mail, carries a shield with a sword and dagger at his waist. It says here that the Corporal is rather grouchy, with a low charisma, but he admires outspoken, brave fighters, and is easily taken in by a pretty girl.
That's how it's gonna be.
Yep.
So it's gonna be like that then.
Yep. Beside him is a man in robes, a scribe, who records the name of each person who enters and leaves. Flanking each man is another man at arms in plate with pole arms, as noted. When dismounted, lackeys will come from the stable to take mounts and mules. Any goods not carried by the adventurers will be stored in the warehouse, and another lackey will show the travelers to the travelers' inn. So this is a full service joint.
Sure, yeah. You roll in. Well, they've got to make sure that no riffraff gets in here. Nobody who would, work against the keep, maybe to be a traitor to the people. Overthrow the Bailey, trying to let
what law-abiding person, would ever consider something like that.
I'm definitely on Traitor Watch. I'll let you know. Definitely on Traitor Watch. As soon as my spidey sense tingles, I'm gonna let you know.
Yep. So a piece of kind of medieval whatever, the bailiff or superintendent of the outer bailey of the fortress, this is the person who would be in charge of the outer walls, lives in a tower that is part of this outer structure. This person is a very, higher up member of the fortress administration. They're wearing plate mail +1, sword +1.
Damn. Okay.
They have a longbow on the wall in their office. Just all sorts of things in here describing this is a pretty badass dude who's in charge of the defense of the outer bailey. But once you get a little further into the keep, then you begin to reach the actual things that matter. There is a smithy and armor. There is a trader. There are
Wait,
some
we found the trader already?
That
was easy.
TRADER.
Yeah.
Your trader.
A guy to buy your stuff and sell you things that have no business really existing here. Where did he get it?
Well, I mean,
wherever.
If you're traveling along between different lands, I mean, the
Sure,
keep is a pretty common kind of place.
It's a good place to hang out.
Consider this to be kind of your like dry goods merchant. You're got a little bit of everything. You're, the guy who's just got the little bits and pieces that move through. Hey, look at what I got today that just came off the cart and maybe fell off the back of it.
Yeah, well, it's a good explanation for when the players ask for something somewhat random and you want them to have, I'm thinking as a DM here, you're like, okay, fine, that will be fine without, you just don't want to be a lame and be like, well, that doesn't exist here because no one would have brought it. Yeah, have a trader, whatever you, TRADER, whatever you want. Like, if he needs to have something, he has it. You need some powdered silver. Yes, he happens to have some powdered silver. Here you go.
Yeah. And it specifically says this person deals in all armor, weapons, and large quantities of goods, including salt, spices, cloth, rare woods, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So the trader will buy items from adventurers at half of the listed price from the rulebook, except for furs, which he will pay whatever the stated value it is that the seller demands.
Just furs? I was expecting like maybe art objects or jewelry. Just furs.
Yeah. I mean, as far as a commodity goes, furs, high demand, easy to move, really, really, this is something that is like a nice...
I think the guy just likes furs. Like, he just like, I like to imagine he's got like a little room that he's rented. He doesn't let people in there. He goes in there and it's just fucking wall to wall. He likes to roll around in it. I'm not saying it's a sex thing, but it's not a sex thing.
like a content creator that makes an entire ball pit in one room of their house.
Yes, exactly. That's this guy. He's the fur man. He wants to have a whole room that is all fur. He wants a fur chair and a fur bed and a fur floor and ceilings and walls. He wants to fully surround himself in a big fur cocoon. And it's not weird. Don't shame him. The man likes furs and it's not hurting anybody. So leave fur man alone.
Yep. Now, it is important to note the trader is separate and different from the provisioner.
Well, the provisioner is only going to sell provisions. Exactly. And he's not going to trade. You have to buy them.
Legally distinct, yeah.
Yes.
The provisioner.
Legally distinct.
Yep. The provisioner houses a shop with all of the equipment needed for dungeon adventures are sold.
This is where this is your caltrops shop. You get your caltrops. You get your you get your, I forget what they call that you hammer into, the pittons.
Yep.
Your pittons and your 100 feet of rope and your 50 feet of silk rope. That's this man.
Exactly. He does not sell weapons other than spears, daggers, arrows. It was daggers and arrows. Boy.
Hey, a dagger on the end of a shaft that you fire like an arrow, a dago. Hey, I mean, that's kind of cool.
I'm actually imagining two daggers like hilt to hilt on either side of the arrow, kind of like spikes sticking out for the wheels of cars.
I like
so
that.
You like shoot the arrow and it slices the necks of two other guys as it goes along.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
We could be onto something here.
The dago.
That exists in Eberron. We know it. Someone in House Cannith made that. You know that they did.
Yeah, absolutely.
They
brought it to their like chief engineer. Look what I made. And the guy goes, go the fuck back to your room. What are you doing? Give me your tools. Give them all to me.
It's why is this guy still here? Well, he's Merrick's the Cannith's like grandson, and he has like, a fully functional dragon mark. So someone's daughter's gonna marry that kid and have like 5 children with him.
In the meantime, we got to deal with daggos all fucking
right.
day.
So I'm thinking of taking this sticky glue and these caltrops and combining them so that they stick to the feet of people. It's like, just no. Okay.
Are you high? Are you high all the time?
These
are high inventions.
Those are the thronehold conventions for war crimes exist for a reason.
And it's so you don't have adhesive caltrops.
Like even the Dakani goblins are like, brother, ew.
Brother, ew.
So the provisioner does not sell armor or mounts. He will send people interested in such items to the trader next door. Prices are per the rules. He will buy equipment from adventurers at 50% of listed price.
No fetish?
Um,
I mean, no preference for a specific kind
nope.
of item? He's not like, I'll buy all courgettes and eggplants at full price.
Yeah. There is also something that we don't always talk about, especially in medieval towns.
Mhm.
There's a bank.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Banking
There's a
is the
loan
second
bank.
oldest profession.
There you go. Here, anyone can change money or gems for a 10% fee. The banker will also keep a person's wealth stored safely at no charge if it is left for at least 1 month. Otherwise,
Sure.
there is a 10% fee.
Yeah.
Banking regulation has not hit the keep on the Borderlands yet. You're still hit it with overdraft and too many transfers within a month. Loans at an interest rate of 10% per month can be obtained for up to 5 gold pieces with no security deposit. More than 5 gold pieces requires some item of at least twice the value of the loan. A sign on the shop states clearly the place is under the direct protection of the keep, and there is always a man-at-arms chainmail with longbow and sword watching the place from the tower.
You ain't robbing this place.
No. The banker itself is a retired 3rd-level fighter.
Going
Definitely a heavier armed and experienced person as compared to the adventurers themselves, with a sword handy and plate and shield stored in his apartment.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what the plate and shield in his apartment is going to do to help him, but the sword handy will be pretty beneficial.
Yeah. So there are also a number of other items for sale, and most of these are just literally things that are interesting for the players, like a carved ivory tusk for 50 gold pieces, a silver cup for 20 gold pieces, a crystal decanter that is priced at 45 gold but only worth 10, a jade ring priced at 250 but is actually worth 400 gold pieces.
And to figure that out, you're having to do some sort of rolls. I'm not going to pretend like I know how to appraise items in basic D&D, but I bet it's in there.
Yep. A fur-trimmed cape, a set of
I know who'd
tools.
I know who'd like that. I'm surprised that's just hanging around.
Yeah. And there is also a strong room in the cellar with lots of different items inside of it, just in case your thief decides to go on a late night lockpicking spree in order to steal, let's see, an alabaster and gold statue worth 3,000 gold pieces and a rare wood and silk case worth 600 gold pieces.
Wreck that economy. But I mean, you couldn't sell it, so you'd have to hold on to it until you leave the keep on the Borderlands, if you leave the keep on the Borderlands.
Yeah. Speaking of like gold and experience points, it doesn't work this way, but could you imagine like, I wonder how much this ring is worth. And you hear ding, 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 multiple levels.
You pickpocket 8 levels off of a guy.
Right.
Who was that? I don't know, but I suddenly take no damage when I have to roll dexterity checks, and I succeed or take half damage otherwise. So I'm at least level 6.
You put the ring down, and the Super Mario just pew 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 pew.
Oh god, that's so.
To be clear, doesn't work that way.
No, it does not work.
Still
that way.
Funny.
It would be hilarious if it did.
Right. Other functional kind of places. There is, of course, the Traveler's Inn, where players can stay, as well as the Tavern, a place that is a favorite to visitors and inhabitants of the keep alike. The food is excellent, the drinks generous and good. The place is always active, with between 4 and 16 patrons at any time, day or night. There's also a bill of fare described here, with ale, small beer, wine, honey mead, bark tea, bread, pudding, soup, stew, roast fowl, roast joint, cheese, and fruit, with all the specific prices listed for them.
So here's my question. The Tavern. No name. It's just called The Tavern.
Just the Tavern.
So, okay.
And the person who runs it is the Taverner.
Yeah.
The Taverner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not the word I would have used. But so 2 things. One, I remember I've read a little bit about like reviews in the past, and I remember one of the things that people really complained about was that it's very generic. And I'm definitely getting a lot of that. But as we discussed before, it's up to the DM to fill all these things out. So if you're sitting there thinking, you're going, okay, well, if a good DM would, in my opinion, for whatever that's worth, would make this keep more alive by giving all of these people names and backgrounds and personalities, and would be, it wouldn't be the trader, it would be, Yar's Bazaar of the Bazaar or whatever, right? And
Exactly. Yeah.
you would fill that out, and that would make this much more. That would make this. I hate to use the word interesting because that kind of means that I feel like this is boring. I don't think this is boring, but that definitely would give it more of like a. This is the like this is a real thing, and
Yeah.
I wonder. I would love to know if anybody who out there who's listening to this has played this. Did your DM fill these blanks? Because I look at it as like blanks. It's like, this is a dungeon Mad Lib, right?
Yes.
The
Yes.
trader is not the trader. You don't go talk to the trader. You go talk to, Yar Bahersharam, the proprietor, and he has a weird accent and all this other stuff. So
right. Where would Diablo 2 be without Guy?
Yes.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Or I can't make a Skyrim reference because I've never played Skyrim, but
clearly you don't get up to the Cloud District that often.
But like Khajiit has wares if you have coin, that sort of
Bingo.
thing. That sort of thing. That's okay. So if you're listening to this and you played this, did your DM fill these blanks in, or was this just like the Gray Kingdom of Grayness? Was this like the Futurama movie where it had the neutrals and their neutrality? Tell my wife I said hello, right? That sort of thing. So that's my first thing. I would love to know how many people actually have memories associated with these entities that in the book is the provisioner or the taverner, but in reality for them was like old one-eyed Ed or whatever. Would love that. Fill the comments with those comments and those stories. I'll read every single one and I will respond.
And this is where it's interesting that there is a ton of description and information. This is clearly meant to be a place that is lived in. And that makes sense because the adventurers are going to keep coming back to this joint. This is not simply an extension of camp. This is not simply a more functionally filled.
You can do stuff here.
Like,
and Gygax, in his mind, I would like to think, Gygax has done the boring shit for you, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have to fill out a menu of stuff. You have a menu, and he's just giving you all the stuff to hang your own sort of interesting stuff on, which is great. Another thing that I wanted to point out that I just happened to be reading about today was in this period when D&D was really early, you've mentioned medieval a lot, which in like some of the other campaigns some of the other modules we've looked at, they feel more D&D, less medieval. Medieval recreation was a big part of what was going on that D&D was coming out of. We all talk about it being chainmail, but a lot of that was like I was reading a story that like Dave Arneson was a big Napoleonic War guy. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the stuff that you get in Blackmore, his campaign setting, has some analogs in the Napoleonic War. A lot of the guys he was playing with were Napoleonic War guys. And the thing that was important to them was getting all this stuff right. And literally in Arneson's like early game group, they played it like they played the group dynamics, like their friendship dynamics, as a medieval group, right? And so they would he would give there was like a section where he was giving parcels of land to people, and you had like the titles from the so this sort of medieval recreation is very much at home in this era of D&D, which doesn't get talked about a lot, but it was a huge influence, not only just the wargaming, but like the realistic medieval going into sort of the more like Napoleonic wargaming. Like, so it's fascinating to me that this is effectively like, I know if I looked all this up, I'm just gonna assume if I looked all this up, this would all be like full on, like this is how a medieval town or a medieval keep would work. There would be a bailey with a bailiff, and you would have that's why they're using these specific words.
Yes.
Right. I'm sure there's like, well, if this, like, I bet you there's a date in history that the keep on the Borderlands would have just been any other keep in like Norman occupied France or something. Like I guarantee that. And that's super interesting and super fun to kind of, I was literally just reading about that earlier today. So that's really cool.
You're closer to like your Society of Creative Anachronism in the
Yes.
terms of like
Yes.
what your purpose for doing all this
Yes.
is,
They weren't
and part of that
necessarily
is to
just hanging around like playing Warhammer. Like
yeah,
these were people who were interested in the history. They were interested in doing it correctly and getting it like historical accuracy mattered for what they were doing in their chainmail stuff. So it's cool to see the little bits of that sort of bleeding into the more fantasy stuff. Like
yep,
obviously there was no medieval, they didn't fight dragons that we know of. But like here it's like, oh, I can have my medieval fantasy and dragons and elves and dwarves. Like I can
yeah.
kind of smash the two together and have fun.
You get a little bit of that difference if you're watching Game of Thrones
Mhm.
versus House of the Dragon Game of Thrones, because House of the Dragons is meant to feel more medieval.
Yeah.
It's meant to feel like a much further back period of
Yeah, so
time,
it
and
feels a
there's
little bit
little
more
pieces.
weirdly grounded than
Yeah,
Game of Thrones does. Game of Thrones is more, and they make the distinction, and I'm not going to pretend like I know the distinction or that a distinction even exists between like high fantasy like that and the more like realistic fantasy, and then like your like pulp fantasy, which was swords and sorcery, that
yes,
sort of fantasy. Like there's all these different varieties, and high fantasy is sort of what we run into now most frequently, based a big portion of it on Tolkien, because so incredibly influential and so well and so beloved. Everyone wants to do a Tolkien-esque sort of game. But back then, when Tolkien wasn't this great huge cultural figure, you got a lot of more of that like pulp fantasy, which is where you start finding like there are and this is, I think they later on they set Keep on the Borderlands and Mystara. Originally
yes,
Mystara
yes.
has ray guns and aliens and shit in it, like all over the place. It was based on like the Hollow Earth. You've ever heard of like the Hollow Earth story, where you can
Oh
dig
yeah,
in the
with
thing
all
and
the
with, yeah,
weirdness
all the stone in there?
inside.
That's
Yeah.
Mystara, right? And
Hmm.
and so like you get some of that pulp fantasy. It's interesting to see more of that sort of middle realistic fantasy as opposed to the high fantasy, which Arneson was also super into. So yeah, they're
Yep.
just really interesting to see that expressed here in such a like celebrated and well-known module.
Yeah. So going back to the tavern, you
Mhm.
have a little bit more of that kind of what is tavern life like at this time. And one of them is like there's specific descriptions in here of, hey, if you buy the barkeep a story or buy the barkeep a drink, then he will share stories about what's been
Mhm.
happening kind of in the area. There's a 50% chance they're true or not.
Right.
You can also find mercenary men at arms here. At times, there are chances that other NPCs within the Outer Bailey may be here, like the Corporal of the Watch, the Captain of the
Yeah.
Watch, the Bailiff, Watchmen, Sergeants of the Guards. There's a chance that you may come across a Wanderer, a second or third level fighter, dwarf, elf, or halfling, as the DM decides, with complete equipment for adventuring. Such a Wanderer is 75% likely to join an expedition if offered 25% of the treasure gained. But 1 and 6 will be of chaotic alignment. There's also chances like for the other NPCs to kind of come and go from the tavern. So it's
Yeah.
very much a like, hey, you show up to the tavern, there's a smorgasbord of people here, including some people you interact with maybe every day.
Sure.
The tavern is also and elsewhere in the keep, as you get to know these people, there are also lots of opportunities for rumors. We discussed bits and pieces of rumors in the history of Into the Unknown, B1. And this rumor table is very similar. There's about 20 different rumors that you can kind of
I love the rumor
pepper
table.
through. And
The last one was
of
so much fun.
a favorite of a feature of that returns here. Some of them are very false.
Oh, I love that. So it obviously it tells you which ones are false.
It does, yes. It marks
Right,
them with an
gotcha.
F. So, for instance,
Okay.
Jeremy, if you have a 20-sided die there,
Oh.
let's assume that you've headed up to Yarborough the trader.
Yep.
And Yarborough has been kind of talking your ear off, and he lets a little choice tidbit drop. Go ahead and roll a 20-sided die.
No ASMR because I'm using a big foam dice that I have on my desk that I got from Loot Crate. Remember Loot Crate?
Oh, I remember Loot
It was
Crate.
mostly a scam. Here you go. I rolled a 19.
19. So 19 says nobody has ever returned from an expedition to The Caves of Chaos. Oh, the Caves of Chaos. You don't want to go to those caves.
We don't want to go down that road.
You don't want to go down that
No one
ravine.
goes down that road.
No one comes back. You don't want to go.
Well, but people come back from the Caves of Chaos.
They, in fact, do. This one is false. This is absolutely false. Let's imagine that you've wandered around. You're chatting someone else up, and they give you another rumor. Give me a second roll.
Rolling. Rolled 6.
So another member of your party might hear, "Oh, the Caves of Chaos. Oh, I've heard they're terrible."
Everybody comes back from there.
One of the more
Disneyland.
People really avoid it because, not only are there dangerous monsters, but every single one of the cave entrances have dangerous and deadly traps on them.
Also probably fake.
It is false. All of the caves. Yeah, all the cave entrances fact. Because if they were all trapped, how did people come back to tell you that they're all trapped?
Yeah, it's not like the traps are... Is it like a perpetual trap?
Basically, just like it's a mix. Some some aren't, but not all of them. If you go through the whole table, there are some really interesting pieces in here. There is a merchant imprisoned in the caves who will reward his rescuers. That one's true. There is a false rumor that a powerful magic user will destroy all cavern invaders. There is true
false.
It is false. Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously he wouldn't destroy them like immediately. Like you step in and you're destroyed. But maybe there's like a powerful magic user that if you get into one of the caves he's turned into his wizard lair, he'll destroy you.
There you go. That's closer to the truth. Tribes of different creatures live in different caves. That's true.
That feels good.
An ogre sometimes helps the cave dwellers. So occasionally you might get an ogre involved in some of the other caves.
True.
That one's true.
Oh, yeah.
A magic wand was lost in the caves area.
True. Yeah.
That one's true. Yeah. And a little further down, this one, I think you're going to kick out of this one because there's a little bit of history here. Briark is goblin language for "we surrender." Ye old Briark that we've used time and time again, and it's popped up in everything. This is one of its origins.
Wow.
This is a rumor you would get. Oh, if you see goblins, you yell Briark, and it will tell them we surrender. Or if they yell Briark,
why would you?
It means they're surrendering.
To goblins.
You would trick them. You would lure them into false.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Briark is goblin language for we surrender, and that's false. That's absolutely false.
I guess it doesn't tell you what Briark means.
No, it does not.
Briark.
Yep. So yeah, there's a lot of your fake and true rumors to kind of pepper throughout. It's also noted: do not give out all rumors. You may add whatever false rumors you wish. Adding to the amount of true information is not recommended.
Sure.
So lots of different opportunities to be able to get some of these answers. But there's also other people that you can run into who are not directly tied to the keep. Like we mentioned, the wanderer that sometimes comes through. There are a series of apartments, special quarters, available for well-to-do families, rich merchants, guild masters, and the like. There is also a guild office here, a guild house, where all of the merchants have to check in with the guild and pay money to the guild in order to receive the guild's protection and blessing. Otherwise, they can't be here. Because we're in a gilded age. But the private apartments.
This is like a merchant's guild, right? This isn't some other sort of like.
Gotcha. No. This is a trade. Like guilds existed during the era of guild, life and economy and culture for providing standards and training for apprentices and limiting who could be within the profession. And so the people who ran the guilds kind of controlled all those different aspects of it.
Right. This is before the fantasy version of guilds where every profession, which was never
they essentially became corporations,
guilds, things like that.
Right. No, the actual guild system operated in order to ensure that, to an extent, standards were kept up. If someone was a member of the Cobbler's Guild, that meant that their work was at the level that was expected of masters of that profession.
You're not allowing taken advantage of.
No, but allowing people to become masters so that they could then take on apprentices, so that they could then pass on their stuff, was usually heavily controlled by corrupt individuals that would charge them shit tons of money
Yeah.
or would politically keep people in and out. The guild system is a very rich era of history that people should spend time reading in order to see how it differs from our fantasy understanding of it. Because I think that there's
And how it's
plenty
similar
there.
to our current real world.
Well, let's not get a little too real back there,
We're
kids.
getting a little too,
Yeah.
a little too close to reality.
Yeah. So, with that said, in these private apartments, there are two very large apartments that currently house inhabitants that you could run into in various places. One of them is a jewel merchant.
Okay.
This normal man and his wife, I don't know why they describe them as normal men, other than they probably don't have any levels in any classes.
Or normal. I mean, I hate to say normal for non-elf, dwarf, halfling, but
Well, they wouldn't
maybe-
say man; they would say elf or dwarf.
So were they not using the term like elf man
No,
at this point? Okay.
no.
I know at one point it was like there was like halfling man, elf man, and they would say instead of human, you might occasionally get like, normal man.
Yeah. Elf man, human.
Human, yeah.
like a Ferengi. So the normal man and his wife are guarded by a pair of second level fighters in chainmail and shield with sword and dagger. So you might see these like two people kind of walking through town with their guards around them.
Sure.
The four are lodged in the eastern portion of the building, the merchant and his wife on the upper floor most of the time. Each guard commands a huge dog trained to kill.
Gotta name those dogs. We gotta name those
Yeah.
dogs.
Well, there's a very good reason why they have the guards. The merchant has a locked iron box with 200 platinum pieces and 100 gold inside.
Yee.
Secreted in his belt are 10 gems worth 100 gold pieces each. He buys gems at 60 to 90% value with a die roll to determine it. He sells gems at 110 to 140% of value.
I knew this was coming. I knew once we got into art objects and gems, it would be like they buy high and sell higher.
Yep. His wife wears a jeweled bracelet, necklace, and earrings worth 600, 1200, and 300 gold pieces, respectively. Also available for sale as per the gems. Imagine being that wife that's the walking billboard.
I mean, that's just marketing, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying so. They've given you no. You've been given no information other than man and his wife.
Yep.
You can be a good person and say regular man, regular guy, and his wife. You see him, you're like, yep, man and woman, man and wife makes sense. Or you can make this like keep on the Borderlands Miami. Where the jeweler is some very old, very large man with a lot of rings on his fingers, and his wife may look more like his daughter.
Yeah, exactly. They're just waiting. He's just waiting to do a line of coke at the tavern.
Oh yeah. You like those jewels? You can buy them right off her, baby.
He cuts them with the diamonds.
See, we've made it. We've made an interesting character. I want to play. Right. I now want to play Keep on the Borderlands Miami.
You enter in a speedboat. It's a boat.
to synthwave music playing in the background.
Right. Yeah. I'm picturing the fighting man in a white blazer with his
with like a pastel t-shirt on underneath it, a big chain, sunglasses. Absolutely,
God, so good,
100%.
As someone who has like 100%ed Grand Theft Auto Vice City, 100%. Yeah, I'm down for this. There's also in the other portion a jovial priest taking advantage of a stopover at the keep to discuss theology with learned folk and to convert others. Everyone speaks well of him, although the two acolytes with him are avoided as they never speak. The priest says they must follow vows of silence until they attain priestly standing. His well-appointed chambers are comfortably furnished. Guests are always welcome.
He just got tired of listening to those guys.
No, yeah.
He made that shit up.
100%.
He got tired of them. They were a little too chummy with one another, and they were just chat all the time.
Yeah.
And then he sat them down, and he was like, boys, you've been in my employ now for 6 whole hours. So it's time to talk to you about the vow of silence you're going to take right about now.
Gentlemen, you have reached a level of blessing. Our God has come to me in a vision, and he has stated that in order for you to move forward in the faith, a great trial awaits you. Shut the hell up for 5 years.
No more talking.
Yep. His well-appointed chambers, comfortably furnished. Guests are always welcome with a cozy fire and plenty of ale or wine. The priest is a very fine companion and an excellent listener. He does not press his religious beliefs upon any unwilling person.
Okay.
He is outspoken in his hatred of evil, and if approached by a party of adventurers seeking the Caves of Chaos, will certainly accompany them. He's also someone that you
He'll
can run
accompany
into
you to the Caves of Chaos?
with his +1 plate mail, +1 shield, +1 mace.
I didn't realize he was
and
that kind of
scrolls.
priest. I was thinking
this is
old.
not.
I was
No.
thinking, he's a G. He's definitely the kind of person who'd be like, yeah, you two shut
Very
up for
much
5
so.
years. I'm gonna go and crack some evil heads at the
Exactly.
old Caves of Chaos.
Right. So very much someone who can absolutely, come in, throw down with the players. You see him running. He's very kind of garrulous is what I'm picturing. This is certainly someone that, could have that very positive reputation with the players very early on. And they may even decide to say, yeah, let's take advantage of this. Let's get this guy to go with us.
I mean, if he's not going to take a cut of the treasure, aka experience, I mean, you may throw him some alms. May throw some alms his way, but
he is 100% willing to go, and will offer to go, and does not want any of those rewards.
Nice.
Yeah. He's not the only holy person in town. There is also a chapel. You remember the curate that I mentioned? They are here in the chapel. This is the spiritual center of the keep, opposite the guild house. Peaked roof with 2 stories tall. The interior, 1 large room. The altar is located on the eastern end with a colored glass window above it. An offering box is fastened securely atop a heavy pedestal in the southeast corner. The curate is a 5th level cleric. Empties the offering box each evening and deposits the coins with the banker. A small stairway in the northwest corner behind the bare wooden pews leads to the cellar where the curate and his 3 assistants have their quarters. The curate is the most influential person in the keep, except for the Castellan.
He's a fifth level cleric. That definitely means he's pretty influential.
Yeah,
because if you don't do what he says, he'll talk to his best friend God, and your ass is toast.
Yeah, ever heard of flame strike? He wields either a mace +1 or a snake staff.
Oh.
On command, the staff can turn into a snake and coils around the person that it hits.
Is it is our good friend save versus poison or die?
No, it just constricts them and holds them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he tries to hit them, and when he hits them, it just goes shoop, and you're tied up.
Yeah, they are out
very
of the
much
fight.
so. Yeah. The acolytes have plate mail and shields and mace. They are normally clothed in robes, will arm for battle on command of the curate. So this is definitely like your big holy healer. Cure light wounds, detect magic, bless, hold person. He will only use cure on a member of the congregation, such as an officer of the guard or a shopkeeper. And there's lots of information about, their storage and everything else. But the priest has something that as you get to know them, that they may reveal. They don't like the priest.
No, wait, you said the priest will...
Sorry, the curate. The curate. Yes, so the curate, the most influential person, the person in the keep chapel, doesn't like the priest, the guy with the guys with the vow of silence.
Yeah.
The priest visits the keep regularly. The curate just doesn't trust him. There's something about him he doesn't like. The acolytes, though, if you talk to them, they love the guy. They think he's awesome, and they will say so to any that asks about him.
I'm feeling like a little tingle that we may be in the presence of the traitor. Traitor, not Trader. That guy is out there. Well, he's probably in his fur room. But
you're getting a little Peter tingle?
Yeah, I'm getting a little Peter tingle, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, but here's the question. Is it the curate who's trying to throw you off because the priest seems good, but the priest also, as we sort of almost alluded to, maybe too good to be true.
I mean, he's willing to carry you guys into the caves, and he's willing to do so for no reward.
Yeah,
and when you're there, battling the forces of evil
together, side
by side,
he won't. Yeah,
the priest will 100% use cause light wounds or a light spell to blind the party in order to turn on them at a crucial moment.
I love that. Or just wait until they need healing and be like, "Oh, I'll heal you." I'm pretty sure that was cause, not cure.
The priest is a traitor. The priest is actually chaotic evil. It says in parentheses, note, all are chaotic and evil, being in the keep to spy and defeat those seeking to gain experience by challenging the monsters in the caves of chaos. Mm-hmm. So the priest is kind of like almost a bounty hunter for evil. Not really, but like close to that. Like they are sent to infiltrate the keep, keep an eye out for anyone looking to basically level up and clear out the caves of chaos.
Sure, and take them somewhere they don't need to be and get them into a situation.
Yeah, because you're more likely.
He's a I'm not gonna say you, Larry. He's a what do you call the? God, my mind went blank. When you go to a hotel and
concierge.
He's a concierge for evil. Like they send him out, he goes and finds like, oh yeah, a third little first level adventuring party. I have the perfect cave for you guys. There's like some rats in there and some dire butterflies, and you roll in and there's like 4 trolls with huge tree trunks they're just smacking their palm with.
Yep.
That's right, baby.
So yeah, they are 100% evil, and they are there to look for up and coming adventurers then betray them.
That's a great. Oh, I love that. That's a great little note. That is awesome. Also, take a look at your Discord when you get a second.
Oh, the keep on the board. That is so good. It is a crime. It is criminal.
I use ChatGPT. I know, shoot me, kill me. Just for funsies, I made a keep on the Borderlands Miami logo,
you know what?
This is exactly the way you would hope.
This is so good it's worth burning down a part of the rainforest.
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that's fine. We didn't need the greater tapir. Nope. They're fine. We needed this keep on the Borderlands Miami logo. It's really fun. I'll put it somewhere for you guys to. Very, very, very fun. I just couldn't get that out of my brain.
So that covers the majority of the outer part. That covers pretty much everything that you will run into as a player when you are in the outer part of the keep. Mm-hmm. This is a place to stay, to rest, to buy and sell, to eat and drink, to recover. Sometimes, especially consider, we talked in The Unknown, you might have extended amounts of recovery time because you recover hit points so slowly.
For months.
You might be a month in between each cave as you recover from your wounds and train up and get prepared.
Yeah, so that banking that you've done could really come back to bite you. That loan you took out may actually mature while you're here.
Now there are ways to be able to like this priest, right? If you were to defeat them somehow or overcome them, then you would have a significant amount of treasure and a place to be able to spend it. Again, plate mail +1, shield +1, mates +1, scrolls of hold person and silence. Those are extremely powerful magical items that could really boost a party's ability to get shit done. Mm-hmm. They also carry, each cleric has some silver pieces, 46 silver pieces. Sure. Each wears a gold chain worth 100 gold pieces.
There you go.
The priest's chain has a bloodstone gem worth 500 gold pieces in addition. There's a small sack hidden in the priest's chair containing 30 each platinum, gold, electrum silver, and copper, as well as jeweled clasp worth 300 gold pieces. These are for bribes, for subversion, or to use to gain freedom if necessary. Hey, don't kill me. I will tell you where I've hidden thousands of gold worth of items back in the keep. So if you let me go in this dungeon, I will never see you again.
Right.
And I'll tell you where I've hidden treasure.
So here's my question. Hypothetically, you show up at the keep on the Borderlands.
Yep.
You meet the priest.
Uh-huh.
The priest is like, I'm gonna go with you and we're gonna do this. So you do that. But your plan, because you are secretly chaotic evil, is you get the priest in before you even get to the Caves of Chaos. You get the priest in a bad spot. then you take him out and you take all of his stuff. Is that an evil act? Or is that a weirdly good act because he was chaotic evil? Did you accidentally ruin your own alignment?
My DMing philosophy is very much an intent versus outcomes person. Ends don't justify means.
Sure.
Intent overrides all. So if you go out planning to ambush and thwack this guy,
and
you deserve
you're evil.
You very much deserve the rump spanking you're about to get. He is gonna just go ham on you because, like, yeah, who's to say that his clerics haven't been kind of shadowing you all and show up, and now there's like a full-on party fight? Who's to say that he doesn't know a lot more about the surroundings, having come to and fro quite a bit? There's a lot here to play with. I would definitely not just use him as a loot pinata. I would definitely make him a long-term scam artist, someone who takes multiple attempts at, kind of gaining trust.
Yeah.
Who he's doing the pig slaughtering. He's fattening the players up.
He's fattening you up to get you there. May help you get to level 2. May take you to some like really easy cave and walk you through. And you're like, oh, this guy, and get you to a point where you're ready to really take advantage of his of him helping you in there. And then he drops the hammer and your players hate you.
Yeah. I personally would not have the priest go into the dungeons unless it is intending to take the players out. And I would not do that until the priest is like fully assured that they trust him. Because this is really risking himself. If he goes out with players and the players don't return, that just justifies what the tavern keeper is. He may have to, every time that he does this, he may have a plan to lay low for 6 months and then eventually make his way back.
And there's only so many times you can come back to the keep with your clothes strategically torn and with your oh, I barely escaped with my life, but the poor souls, you can only pull that like once.
Exactly.
You come back and you're like, yeah, we're not going to believe this twice.
Right. I mean, it is a dangerous life, but there's certainly a certain number of times before the most influential person in the keep is just like, you're getting snaked, buddy.
Yeah.
So that takes us through the majority of kind of what's on the outside. When you get into the inner bailey, eventually, as we described, the Castellan there will, all of the main kind of guards that keep train in this inner bailey area. The Castellan's fortress is very powerful and impressive, but it's mostly there to explain why the keep doesn't get overrun. And the Castellan is not someone that the players should be interacting with until they kind of pass that second level, have proven themselves, and have done some really good daring do.
You're not dope enough to talk to the Castellan yet.
No. So what lies ahead, once players have kind of established themselves in the keep, are traveling through the wilderness outside in the Borderlands and making their way to the Caves of Chaos. That is the end of part 1 of Keep on the Borderlands. What challenges await outside the walls of Keep whatever it was your DM decided to call it? We'll find out in part 2. As always, we have a new release every other Tuesday. If you hate cliffhangers and like your podcasts long, girthy, and all at once, we offer this entire episode from start to finish uninterrupted over on our Patreon. Find out more at our home base, analogdungeon.com. Since you just listened to us ramble for over an hour, you may as well like, subscribe, and comment. I hear all the cool kids are doing it. We will see you next time in the Borderlands.